What's going on, YouTube? It's Ben from AccrueMe, coming back to you again today with another short video. And in today's video, we're going to talk about the 6 factors that go into a financing for an Amazon business or an e-commerce business that you should be considering before you take on outside financing. So the first thing that we're going to start with is the one that everybody always focuses on the most, but probably isn't the most important. And that's going to be the interest rates and fees associated with your financing. So typically, if you're just doing a traditional term loan, which really most financings for Amazon sellers aren't, you're going to be looking at an APR of somewhere between 7 and 20% for that loan. But the thing to consider is that most financing sources for Amazon sellers aren't doing traditional term loans. Usually they're either short-term revenue-based loans, short-term term loans, usually 6 to 12 months, or success-based profit share like AccrueMe does. So with those loans are going to come a different structure than just a traditional interest rate. But just to keep things simple, a lot of Amazon sellers will focus on the interest rate as being the most important piece of your financing, but it's really not, right? So if you get $100,000 in a 12-month term loan at a 10% interest rate, basically you're going to be paying $10,000 in interest over the term of that loan. If it's a 15% interest rate, you'll pay $15,000 in interest. So for $100,000, the difference over a year between 10 and 15% is only $5,000. And as we go through this video, you'll see why that is really not that important at all. And there's so many other terms and conditions that come into an e-commerce financing that are much more important that you should be considering when comparing financing options. So that leads me to the second thing that you should be looking at when considering financing for your e-commerce business, and that's going to be the payback rate or the payback terms, right? So if you're looking at a traditional term loan of, let's say, 6 months, amortizes equally monthly, which is pretty much what like Amazon lending would do, for example. If you take out $100,000 and it amortizes over 6 months, you're basically paying something like $16,000, $17,000 a month back to the lender for that $100,000 loan. So every single month, you're taking $16,000 out of your business and repaying the lender. Now, if you shrunk that down to a 3-month term, which is pretty common in this industry for certain types of financings, you'd basically be paying back almost $35,000 every single month back to your lender for 3 months. So as you can see, when we just talked about interest rate, maybe your interest rate is a difference between $10,000 and $15,000 over the length of a year, whereas the term of your loan can be the difference between $15,000 in this example, or $16,000, and $35,000 in monthly payments. And obviously you're taking out financing so you can grow your business, and making huge payments to your lender every month is not going to let you do that. And it's basically going to put you in a worse cash crunch position than you were when you first took out the money. So that's really actually why we started AccrueMe. So with AccrueMe, we don't require any regular payments. So we have a lot of sellers that we're invested in right now, and they haven't made a single payment to us for months or even years in some cases. And we're completely fine with that because we basically just track what's owed in our proprietary portal and basically tell the sellers, reinvest as much money as you can, grow as quickly as you can, and you just pay us when you're ready. So that's going to be the second thing, the payments on your financing or your loan. Now, the third thing that's not super important and kind of ties into what we just talked about is going to be the term of your loan, right? How long is the loan? Do you have 6 months to pay it back? Do you have 12 months to pay it back? Can you pay it back whenever you want, years later? The reason that's going to be important, the term of your loan, is because if you only have a 3-month loan, that means you got the money, and in 3 months from now, you're going to have to go refinance that and renegotiate with your existing lender or go find a new lender, right? And you're basically constantly going to be chasing and refinancing to grow your business. If you have something longer term, you have some more time to kind of focus on growing your business, and you don't have to spend as much time refinancing or thinking about raising capital. Now, the fourth thing that you're going to want to consider when taking on financing for your Amazon business is going to be restrictive covenants. So pretty much all financings are going to have some form of restrictive covenants, right? I mean, if you take out a car loan, the money needs to be used for the car. You can't just do whatever you want with it. For e-commerce businesses, there's a pretty strict or a pretty standard set of covenants that pretty much every e-commerce financing has. And then there's some unique ones based on the type of financing you're looking at. So the standard ones are going to be things like making sure your Amazon account's in good standing. Usually they're going to require some kind of lockbox to make sure that funds from sales on Amazon aren't being diverted. access to your data, and then making sure that you comply with any rules regarding breaches or fraud or anything like that. So those are all the standards that are going to be in every single agreement, no matter what financing you're looking at. And then there's going to be some more unique ones like personal guarantees and things like that, depending on what type of financing you're considering and what stage your business is in. Now, the fifth thing that you're going to consider when raising capital for your business is going to be the amount of capital that's actually available. So every investor in Amazon sellers has a different way of underwriting and determining how much money they can invest in an e-commerce business. So based on your business and that investor's criteria, you might be able to get a lot more or a lot less from certain investors or lenders. For example, maybe you talk to one lender who they're doing underwriting and they're only looking at your Amazon receivables, and they're just going to invest 100% based on what your Amazon receivables are. They don't care about the rest of your business. Then you might talk to another investor who's looking at your whole business as a whole and your growth plan, and they're going to invest based on that. So the first investor who's only looking at your Amazon receivables, which are pretty good collateral for them, maybe they'll say, we'll match and give you what you have as your Amazon receivables, and we want 10% interest. And then you have another investor who's looking at your entire business as a whole and says, we'll give you twice as much money as that other investor, but we're going to want twice as high of an interest rate. And what you need to consider is, what's more important to me, getting the lowest interest rate possible or getting the capital that I need to execute my plans and grow my business? So that's just something you want to consider. Each lender, each investor will probably give you a different amount that they can invest. And you're going to want to consider, is this enough capital for me to grow my business and accomplish my growth goals? Now, the last thing you're going to want to consider, number 6, is just going to be the reputation and relationship that you have with your investor. So there's a lot of investors in the e-commerce space that maybe don't have the best reputation with sellers. And some of that's not really their fault. They have terms of their agreement and they follow that agreement, and they're responsible probably to investors higher up the food chain. But you still are going to want to consider what other sellers' experiences have been with those investors. Do the sellers feel like maybe they didn't understand everything they were getting into up front, and then they got tricked and ended up having to pay back more than they thought? Amazon sellers that work with these other investors, do they feel like they have access to a real person, or are they basically just another number on a spreadsheet? So just things like that. You want to make sure that whoever you take money from, you are going to have a pretty close and important relationship with that person. And you want to make sure that that person, that company, feels like a good fit for you and has a good reputation and feels like someone that's going to actually help you grow your business and cares about the growth of your business. So that's really it. Those are the 6 things that you're going to want to consider before taking on financing for your Amazon business, right? The interest rate, the fees, the payback amount and term, the length of the loan, the restrictive covenants, the amount of capital that's going to be made available to you, and the reputation of the investor or lender that you're working with. So hopefully you found this video helpful, and if you did, just drop it a like. Let me know you liked it and I should make more videos like this. If you have any questions at all, drop them in the comments and I will personally respond to each and every one. And if you are looking for a pretty unique success-based funding partner for your Amazon business, I'll put a little apply button down in the description below. Go apply. You have nothing to lose. There's no risk, no credit check, nothing like that. Find out how AccrueMe can help you grow your Amazon business. And I look forward to working with you. So hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I will see you on the next one.